Just wanted to share a brief thought I was thinking of, and this morning getting my day started. I was looking at some Bible and already listened to a little bit of preaching and some things and some thoughts getting ready to start my business day. And so Psalm 18:2 says, "The Lord is my rock and my fortress and my deliverer, my God, my strength, in whom I will trust, my buckler and the horn of my salvation and my high tower." And there's a principle kind of through Bible and a lot of the business that people miss when it comes to personal development. If we're not careful, we come to a place that either we think we've learned everything we think we need to know, or we come to a place where we think that, we've had a certain amount of education, or maybe we've come to a place where we've had a little success. And the problem with continued learning is we have to be willing to put ourselves in a place that, in a sense, might feel uncomfortable. And maybe it's learn a new skill or try a new thing or up our game in some way. And that learning process doesn't have to apply to business, our spiritual life, our walk with God to be closer to God, or family. It doesn't have to be about business, but the place of where we need to have that continued growth. And that's that thought of, and I'm working on might turn into a sermon, I'm not sure yet, but I was listening to some stuff, reading some things on Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego when they were in the fire. And there's others that had to go through the hardship to have the victory on the other side, to have that success, to have that learning. That's really what faith is. If you study faith in the Bible, there was an unknown, there was a hardship. To embrace that hardship was their trust in God to pull through that hardship. That came out on the other side of that season in life, whatever it was, realizing they trusted God, and then we call it faith. And we have to realize Joseph had victory and saved, in a sense, the world at that time from famine by trusting God, but was put in a place, but went through the pit, thrown in the pit by his brothers, being sold into slavery, being wrongfully imprisoned, and then became ruler of a nation, only second to Potiphar. The prophet Jeremiah was thrown in a pit of mire and had those times where, hey, God, what is going on? And Elijah had a great victory on Mount Carmel, and then he kind of just panicked and turned away, left his friends and ran, and found himself in a cave wondering, God, what do I do? Even after seeing a victory. Mark chapter 4, the disciples were in a storm with Jesus sleeping in a ship and thought they were going to die, but they soon realized how big God was, even though they'd seen other miracles in the first few chapters of Mark. And my thought was Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the fire. There was a place where it said it burned the ropes that had them bound, but the furnace didn't burn any of their clothes, didn't burn their hair, didn't burn as they were hanging out in the fire with Jesus. And the things that kept them bound, the fire actually released them from. And so if we're going to improve, grow, it doesn't matter if it's our personal. First of all, our personal life has to grow before anything else. We have to grow as an individual. If we're going to be closer to God, do something more for God in ministry, build our business, build whatever. It has to start with us. One of the biggest things I've seen in this journey of life and growth and ministry and preaching over the years and building business is that most people just refuse to grow. So first of all, get past that. In other words, don't be afraid of the fire. God's in the fire too. And the Lord is my rock and my fortress and my deliverer, my God, my strength, in whom I will trust, my buckler and the horn of my salvation, my high tower. God has that strength. God will deliver. But God may use the fire to be the tool to give the deliverance. Don't be afraid of the tough times. Just stay focused on God. When Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego were in that fire, they turned, realized Jesus was walking with them, and it was like, yeah, we're okay. It doesn't matter that there's fire on us. The fire loosed them, and they got to spend time with Jesus. And don't be afraid of the fire.